I have been really struggling at this game, especially this season. I'm not a great hitter. In fact, I think it's fair to say I'm not even a very good hitter. But I am a better hitter than what I have been playing so far in this season, especially what we've been doing during these streams. And I think part of my issue is the stream. It brings a level of self-consciousness, which adds a layer of stress and a self-awareness, kind of adds complexities to a process in which to be able to be successful at this game, you have to make decisions in a split second. I also think when you're in a slump, and slumps happen in this game, just like they do in baseball, which kind of gets back to the element that I like to say about MLB The Show, is it really is a baseball simulator, especially when it comes to hitting and pitching. And what that experience is like, especially on the mental side of the game, is why I like it. And you can get into a slump in this game, just like major league players, real life players do. And it can be difficult to get out of. But you can also get hot. You can also see the ball well and go through a period of time where you're just playing really well. I think that gets back to just the nature of hitting in this game and in baseball, which you literally have just a split second to make a decision if to swing, where to swing, when to swing. And in the process of my own slump here, I've been tinkering around a lot with how I hit. I think I started off with my PCI here in the middle, like this. PCI is what you aim to hit the ball. Here in the middle, I do struggle with lower pitches. I don't have the same amount of sort of fine control in moving the PCI quickly below the strike zone as I do moving it upwards. So I've had it here all the way at the bottom, where I've struggled with the center bottom. Then I had it sort of between the middle and the end of the zone, right around here or so. That's what we did yesterday. And I struggled yesterday with that. Nice home run there, though. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me, because I'm not going to use this today. Even though I just had back-to-back perfect perfects. Instead, what I'm going to do is back to how I have found the most success in playing this game, and that is putting the PCI in the bottom corner that is next to the hitter. So here we have a right-handed hitter, so we're going to put this in the bottom left. And the reason why I like it right here is this reduces the amount of area that I have to use on the joystick to get through the entire strike zone. And what I mean by that is I really only have to move a combination of two directions to cover the entire strike zone. For this right-handed hitter, I basically only have to be able to move it up and to the right, or some combination in the middle of that. But effectively, I only need to use to cover the strike zone about 90 degrees of the entire 360-degree circumference zone that the joystick covers. And I just realized when I do this, it's more baked into my muscle memory. And I feel more comfortable watching the pitches come in. The other thing I do is, when you're self-aware, it does, you can become nervous, especially if you think others are watching, which nobody else is watching this, which is fine. It's kind of how I want it. This is a hobby. But then you also get, the more you struggle, the more you realize it is out there for anyone to see, the more it kind of compounds the problem. And then you feel the stress even more. And then knowing you're not performing as well as you should be performing adds another layer of stress and anxiety to what's happening. And so I'm trying to keep in mind many of these teachings from one of our teachers and trying to help us get better at this game, Miyamoto Musashi. Now, Miyamoto Musashi has no idea there's this video game today called MLB The Show that he's being used in by me to try to improve as a player, improve specifically at hitting, because Miyamoto Musashi lived some 400 years ago in Japan. He was a samurai warrior who the greatest, perhaps, of all sword fighters, who just before his death wrote the Book of Five Rings. And again, the first rule of this book is that these teachings in sword fighting about his technique, his mental preparation, and his mental state of being, a lot of it is mental, he says could be used in almost anything. And I agree with that. I'm trying to use it to see if we can get better at hitting. And of course, getting better at hitting, we're going to do this the entire baseball season. We'll stream a game a day, almost a day. We might take breaks here and there. Some days we won't be able to do it, but we're going to try to get a game in a day. To get better is going to take time. It's not going to happen immediately. Anyways, I have a new principle and teaching from Miyamoto Musashi I want to read because I think this very much gets at the heart of this dynamic that I'm talking about being flustered, feeling anxious, or even upset. And in fact, this section of his book is called Upset. And he says this, quote, "Upset happens in all sort of things. One way it happens is through a feeling of being under acute pressure. Another is through a feeling of unreasonable strain. A third is through a feeling of surprise at the unexpected. In large-scale military science, it is essential to cause upset. It is critical to attack resolutely where enemies are not expecting it. Then, while their minds are unsettled, use this to your advantage to take the initiative and win. In individual martial arts also, you appear relaxed at first, then suddenly charge powerfully. As the opponent's mind changes pitch, it is essential that you follow what he does, not letting him relax for a moment, perceiving the advantage of the moment, and discerning right then and there how to win. This must be investigated diligently." While Miyamoto Musashi here is pointing out the goal is to get your opponent upset, to get in their mind, to fluster them. Conversely, he actually doesn't say this in this part, but he does in other parts. It's also why it's so important that you remain in the same mindset as normal, that your mind doesn't change in a stressful situation, that you keep a sense of equilibrium with you at all times so that you don't put yourself in that situation for somebody else to capitalize on you being upset. And that's the most important thing to remember when you're struggling, is to try to not feel frustrated. Try not to get into that dynamic. We want the pitches to be a little bit faster now before we go play a game today. So we're going to go down here, down to fastball pitch speed. We're going to put it almost to the top, maybe one notch below. And let's take some swings with a left-handed hitter. We will be hitting with Stan Musial. I mean, I'm not Stan Musial. I think of left-handed hitter that I like a lot. I think of Stan Musial from history. But another one it's awesome to have this year is the great Ted Williams. So again, this time I'm putting, to correspond with the left-handed hitting Ted Williams, I'm putting the PCI here in the bottom right corner. Same effect. You can see these pitches are coming in much quicker now. This will just get my reflexes going. We'll make the pitches, which even the fastballs will be slower once we get to a game, an online game. It'll make them seem even slower and more manageable. So my retune, I kind of do this as a timing mechanism to get ready, but I want to be still once the pitch is coming. This is to try to get into a rhythm. Try to keep in mind that every time Ichiro Suzuki came up to bat, he was practicing a breathing technique to keep his mind calm. Regrettably, I haven't been able to find anywhere that outlines what his breathing technique actually was. But most breathing techniques to try to combat anxiety include taking a deep breath in through the nose, and once you have it, hold it for about 7 seconds. And then slowly exhale through the mouth. Then when you exhale, remain in that state for a couple seconds before you repeat. When you inhale, try to inhale through your stomach. You want your stomach to expand as you inhale, not your chest. That means you're breathing through your diaphragm. So you want your stomach to move out when you take those deep breaths, not your chest. See if we can keep Probably not being in that deep of a breathing exercise the entire game. That might be extreme. But let's see if we can keep at least awareness on how we're breathing, especially if we're feeling uptight. Take one more swing, and then we'll go play a game. Let's go play a game. Yesterday's game was very frustrating. Today we're going to try not to get frustrated. My opponent was good. He threw Jake Arrieta at me, and he really knew how to use the sinker. It was impressive. And that's what you do with a sinker. You want to dominate with the sinker in the inside part of the strike zone, and just by a few inches, virtual few inches, dance in and out of the strike zone. And he got me on that. Like, I knew the pitches were coming, and I still couldn't really hit them that well. All right, let's play at Mueller-Bach. That's going to be it's going to be hard to hit home runs there, but I'm not hitting home runs anyways. Yeah, Mueller-Bach, Kansas City, I think the first stadium to have lights in night games. And this was the home of the Kansas City Monarchs. The great, maybe even the greatest, at least franchise from the Negro Leagues. Who are we going to start today? We're going to start, it doesn't look like Arrieta is almost fully rested, but not quite. My personal favorite is Greg Maddux. Last time we did him, he got hit hard in the first inning. I think he gave up 6 runs in the first inning. But then we settled down with him. Let's see how we go here. Who are we going up? Oh, look who we have. Jake Arrieta again. At least we're home this time. So we get to play at Mueller-Bach Field, which is cool. Though it's big, so don't expect many home runs, especially the way that this game is playing this year. My opponent is 28-55. Wow. I play a lot too, but he really plays a lot. Okay. We should be able to win this game looking at these numbers, but I haven't been playing that well. I suspect this guy actually quits in between games early to have that many games played already online. But let's see. Maddux is maybe my favorite pitcher to pitch with, though I think the best pitcher I use is Roy Halladay. But Maddux, call him the professor. If this guy quits like in the first inning, we probably should play another game. Wondering what level we're on, because that PCI is looking mighty. I mean, the par from where the ball goes, if you get it perfectly, is just looking really impressive. And I'm wondering if we're actually on veteran. I hope not. Let's check. I hope we're on All-Star. I don't want to play veteran. Yeah, we're on All-Star. Man. That's the wonderful thing about Maddux is he has this great control if you could throw the ball perfectly, which is easier to do if he's in the windup, but from the stretch it could be a challenge because it's fast. I think I'm going to have an error. Nope. He's going to beat it out. Taking a lead on me, brother? Let him know I know he's there and I'm paying attention. Let's pause to make him think maybe I'm looking for the pitch out. Let's do a, let's see if we can. What's wrong with my second baseman? Why wouldn't he run? I was trying to run after him and he wouldn't. That was frustrating. Oh. I think he's taking too big of a lead over there. We got him. That's why he's lost so often. Of course, I say he. I should be careful. I do think it's probably 90% plus men playing and boys playing this game. But I shouldn't be so I shouldn't be so sure who I'm playing. All right, let's see if he knows how to pitch. Let's take some pitches. It's a good release, so not perfect. Slider in. So he's on the corners. Okay. Try not to swing at a pitch in the dirt. Oh, it came with a high fastball. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, my PC, I got lucky. It's a travesty, even, that I fouled that off. But even worse that I swung at that pitch. Boy, something happens when I come to online play. I could even play against the CPU, the computer, on legend difficulty. Not be great, but be okay. Here I come on All-Star and everything falls apart. Okay. I think what's important is that we don't focus too much on that. Sorry, I don't think he sees it. I think he's just taken. Yep. You got to take it a few times for me to think you actually see it. Kind of feel like it was there. Let's mix it up some. All right. Let's have better at bats. Am I really seeing where his release point is? Let's look for it. Okay. Right here on that tree. Okay. Is it going to get through? Nope. Oh. Give him an air. All right, let's see how he's going to pitch a right-hander. Slider. Is it going to get through? Yes, it is. Boy, I don't deserve any of this. I'm getting lucky right now. That's the best ball I hit. Oof. Nice pitch. It's a double play. Hit it well. Get by him? Nope. Swinging at balls in the dirt again. This year they did not give Greg Maddux a fastball, which I used to sometimes out of nowhere throw a high fastball, which is not very fast at all. But it would sort of be a pitch not expected and oftentimes catch them in surprise. Could we have our second perfect game bid in a row? Nope. Jinxed it. Oh. Okay. He duked me. He is mistaken my earlier mistake as not being able to do this, but it wasn't a mistake. It was the computer not moving the player not moving when I told him to. All right, let's try to be aggressive. Oh, that doesn't work. That was terrible. All right, let's not try to be aggressive. Let's look for our pitch. This is my area where why did I swing at that? This is what we want in here. This guy's not throwing me strikes, and I'm not making him pay for it. But remember that high fastball. Yep, he gave it to me. It was inside, but I still got to it. I remembered it from last time. Cool Papa Bell. Love that guy. I think he's out. Yep. Overreacted on that one. I knew he was coming in something fast and hard. Why am I saying? You know, I think it's his arm angle I struggle with Jake Arrieta. He's different. I know in previous years he was one of the best pitchers in the on the video game. Why? I'm wondering if I'm having lag. I feel like those were actually good pitches. Ooh, I don't know if we're going to get there. We're not. Let's try to keep this from a triple. My center fielder is really slow. I know he's been taking on 0-2 counts, so I thought let's go right at him. Even one of Greg Maddox's strategies. Oh my God. Mark McGuire. Oh, we're going to replay it. Good for him. Now the pressure's back on. So, Greg Maddox's strategy, I've heard this in an interview, is that he didn't like to waste pitches in 0-2 counts. That a batter's lowest batting average is when they are down in the count 0-2, right? Because there's a lot of pressure to swing because you have 2 strikes. And a pitcher could do whatever they want. A pitcher could do whatever they want because they don't have any balls yet. And so oftentimes what pitchers end up doing is just throwing some pitch that might even be a throwaway pitch, not even close to the strike zone, hoping to get the batter to take. And that's always in the back of the mind that the batter, it's always in the back of the batter's mind that this is probably a throwaway pitch. So don't swing at a ball in the dirt. And then Greg Maddux would use reverse psychology, knowing the more you're having to think things through as you're hitting, the harder it is to make that split second decision of what to do. And so Greg Maddux would just go right after a hitter who was no balls and 2 strikes. And sometimes he would lose, right? But most of the time not. I mean, he's only one of the greatest pitchers of all time. And that's baseball. Sometimes you do lose, even when you do everything right. All right. Remember to breathe. Why am I not staying off? I don't think I can read I don't think I can read his pitches. Couldn't have hit that one any better. Why did I swing at that? I need to look at how this guy's throwing. Tucker. Batter type against lefties. We'll take the free base. I think we need to look in. Look how hard I hit that and into and out. I hit 3 balls very hard that inning. Nothing to show. But it's important not to be upset, not to get upset. And then he puts on a. I don't think that was a very good swing. That was just pure luck. It's way out of the strike zone. It's Ted Williams just late, a foot out of the strike zone. That's baseball. Remember, that's baseball. Nicely turned double play. Look at that. Another really hard hit ball for an out. I'm not tripping, though. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Be careful of that slider. Oh. And the pressure starts to mount. He's a good pitcher. I should probably turn up the volume some so the microphone gets it, right? Okay. Do we want a pinch run? Max Clark? I feel like Kyle Tucker's going to hit again, though. Could do it with Willie Mays. No, we're not going to do it. I'm tempted. Oh, was that Walter Jenkins? I thought that was Bryce Harper. I would have pitched hit if I would have known that. We knew that was coming. We know what he's doing. Maybe playing in Muller Box Stadium was a bad idea. Ellie De La Cruz really hit the cover off the ball that last pitch. It was a little bit out of the strike zone, but I just don't get why. I don't in this game. And that's baseball. That's life. Sometimes you don't get rewarded for hard hit balls. And I just, this is a continuing thread through all of these videos. Now, it's possible because I can't see exactly how well the other team's hitting the balls as well. And I'm sure it's happening to other players too. But I definitely feel like I can't get a break. That was pretty well hit. I'm impressed he's staying off the cutter. See, that was out of the strike zone and he got a hit. And he was early on it. Got me that time. At least he didn't advance. No, you have to be joking. You have to be joking. And then he throws the ball in the dirt and still gets the out. Yeah. Get your replay, brother. Get your replay. That was you had to be joking. I hit that ball so well. Oh my goodness. Look, we know what's coming. Too far out though. That was the problem. Yep. Yep. Have a game, brother. Have a game. I knew that was coming. I didn't get my PCI up. That's why I don't like having it at the bottom. This is an amazing game. Just going to wait right here for it. It's going to fall. I think. Oh my God. Nothing. Nothing for me, friends. That was it right there. That was my pitch. Amazing. It's best nobody's watching these. See you tomorrow.